talking about ego, I'm talking about a sense of separate self. In spiritual literature, it'll be called the separate identity, separate self, small self, and that's the part of us that keeps us believing that we're separate from each other and separate from God. And that is actually what causes all of our suffering, bar none. That's it. That's the source of all suffering. The more we dismantle that ego, the more suffering is diminished. Ego, I'm not talking about the sense that I'm great or I'm wonderful. In fact, shining is a wonderful thing. If you can shine in your profession and in any way of your life, that's wonderful. What I'm talking about in ego is just that sense of separation. I'm separate from you. I'm separate from the planet around me, and like this. I think as a species, we're actually being moved towards a more unity-based experience, a more heart-based experience. And that means that things like these psychic abilities are going to be coming forward in people. I think there's going to be an actual evolution, not just in consciousness, but even in the physiology of humanity. And that sounds pretty strange, but I really think that's what's happening. And more people are going to find that they have these abilities. There's going to be more synchronistic experiences in people's lives like that.
And is that in reaction to the upset about all of us feeling very scared about where the world is right now, do you think?
That's a part of the process that we're going through, I think, yeah. I mean, we're in a transformative time, so old systems are being broken down. In the large sense, economies are going to be broken down, governments can be broken down if they're not sort of in accordance with light. But in a personal sense, we need to clear where we're out of alignment with light. Where do we see where are we in separation? We can look at what's happening in the Gulf Coast right now and see, okay, this was the effect of greed. But where am I being greedy? Where is that reflected in me? Because that is part of the separation. That's part of the ego.
So you're saying that world events are actually happening within us as well. Yeah. It's just we're not disconnected from things. We're connected to everything that happens.
Absolutely. And the more that we can see that and address that and clear that, the more we grow in ourselves, the more we reduce our own suffering and the world's suffering, because we're connected to the world. And as a byproduct, things like psychic abilities will increase, and synchronistic events will increase, and like that.
So we can be very clairvoyant. We can know who's calling. We won't need caller ID anymore. It'd be very helpful. To go back to the readings, so when somebody comes through with you, they have more light, they understand themselves a little better. What do you get from the reading when you do a reading? What do you take out of it or learn from it?
Quite often, world information will come through that I didn't know. I'll be sitting and working with a person, and the light will say, well, this is happening in the world, and we need to affect change. And I'm like, I didn't know that was happening. The guides started talking about sort of big changes on the planet. And this started to come through when I was doing readings. Several months ago, they were saying, oh, these earthquakes coming. And then right after that, we had Haiti, we had the South American earthquake, and like this. And so I kind of learn in that way. They kind of inform me whilst I'm working, which is cool, but it's also a little surprising too.
So it's like, by the way, she should drink more water. By the way, earthquakes are coming. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I have a question for you. How do people react when you tell people that are new what you do? Do you get any negative reactions or positive reactions, or what? Is it different for each person?
It is different for each person, and generally the people that come to me already have an idea that this is sort of this is spiritual work, and I'm not going to see this guy to find out what the winning lotto numbers are, or where I'm going to meet the man of my dreams, that kind of thing. It's more I'm going to go see this guy to either clear emotional stuff, kind of connect with my own personal development and find my purpose. Or just, I have people that come to me regularly because they're working on their own awakening, and we sit together and we move a block, we look at what's blocked, and they come back. I kind of give them homework assignments, they come back and we work some more to clear these blocks. And it's beautiful to watch people sort of grow and evolve, and that's really the big benefit, you know what I mean? I never intended to do this work. It wasn't, in fact, like I said, I was kind of in the closet with this stuff until I moved from India to Indonesia, and this Indonesian energy master kind of outed me, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And said, you gotta help people, be useful. And that the real payoff is watching friends and acquaintances just grow and grow and grow. It's beautiful,
Now, when you say that someone has a block or removing the block, are we born with a block, or are we born a beautiful, full light and everything, and then people start throwing stuff at us and we're and then we develop these blocks?
We are born with some blocks, and then others come in as our karma comes due. I mean, we get blocks from the environment when we're children. We bring them in from previous incarnations, and then if our childhood home was in any way kind of chaotic or uncomfortable, there can be emotional issues that arise, and that will block us. That can give rise to physical issues, but we also have karma that just the bills for karma come due, and that can awaken a block that really needs to be looked at.
Now, when you say karma, I know a lot of people, karma chameleon, karma, it's like been used all over the place.
Yeah.
What is karma?
Your
description.
Yeah, I think in the simplest terms, it's just our actions coming back to us.
So actions from a previous life.
From this or previous lives. Yeah, and it's really hard to say when the results of our actions are going to come back to us, but they will come back. That's just how it works. The term in the Bible, the eye for an eye, it's not an edict, as in you must go out and do this. It's a description of how things work. If you give somebody a compliment, somebody at some point will come and give you a compliment. If you say something rude to someone, in time, that energy will come back to you. It all comes back. One of the beautiful things is if we look at this, we realize that nobody ever did anything to me. I did it all myself. Everything that I'm experiencing is the result of my actions. I've got to take responsibility for it. I've got to own everything that's happening to me. And in that owning, we grow. It's when we don't own it and we react to it that we create more karma.
So blaming it on other people?
Blaming it on others and blaming it on the outside world, yeah. Is what creates more karma.
Do you think that we're developing more blocks because of the stress that we're undergoing nowadays? I mean, with the economy and with all the things that we're facing, the inability to really have good relationships, and I mean, just meeting each other on a level that maybe in the past years it was easier to communicate and to develop nice relationships. Now it seems that's suffering for some reason. People aren't communicating as well.
I think that's sort of a byproduct of things speeding up, because there is an acceleration on the planet. I think that we're in a time of, for lack of a better word, a quickening, which means that, things are speeding up. There's a chance for great spiritual evolution, but time is getting shorter. And again, that's kind of a strange concept, but it feels like we're all sort of being pushed to either move forward, to move up into our hearts, to clear what's not, where we're not in alignment with spirit, with light, or kind of fall down. We're getting our noses pushed into our stuff, like that. It's an odd time. I mean, a lot of what's going on in the media, in the American media, is not really looking at that. There's sort of almost a blanket to this evolution that's happening on the planet. It's great that you're doing this, and there are a few people out there that are sort of bringing forth and making this information available through their shows. So anyway,
Excellent.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Definitely. Now, could you talk a little bit about, you have a book that you're writing. So how does this translate into a book? Has it probably been a painful process or a slow process to try to be
very
able to...
slow, very slow. And it's, I'm just in the beginning stage. But essentially what I'm trying to do is sort of replicate myself as much as I can in book form. So that people can, it's sort of a guidebook for clearing their own blocks. This is how to open these parts of the body up, these parts of the energy system up for spiritual evolution.